Come down. Ooh, you make my high come down. Always tripping when you come around. Never have to cut you out like right now. You see, I don't have to drive me. You can say that for your mama. Maybe you should smoke some. Me try the marijuana. I was never you good. The vibe was straight. Showed you a couple of things and they finished change. I treated you right. Everything was a gift from a time to your bag and the color on your lip.
Welcome to the Seahawks Man to Man podcast, powered by Blue Wire. Shout out to the company. My name is Michael-Shawn and Christopher. You guys can follow me on whatever Elon Musk is calling that app these days. That name has not changed. It's also bang, bang right there under my finger at Mike Dugar. Shout out to everyone who is watching us on YouTube. Seahawks Man to Man is the name of the channel. That is Seahawks Man, the number 2 man. It's the same thing on our Instagram, same thing on our TikTok. Make sure you go to all those platforms at some point and hit like, follow, rate, review, subscribe. Just hit all the good buttons, repost, reshare. It means a lot to us. Thank you so much. We've been seeing the love. It means a lot. I just can't thank you enough. So we're just very grateful, very appreciative. Chris, go ahead, talk to him.
What is going on, everybody? It is your boy, Christopher Kidd. You can follow me on Blue Sky and Twitter at CKIDD206, and that's CKid206. Make sure to keep following us on Instagram, Seahawks Man to Man, YouTube channel, Seahawks Man to Man. You can subscribe there, and TikTok. Let's get us to 1,000 followers on TikTok at Seahawks Man to Man. And Mike's a fake friend because I was listening back to our podcast like I always do, and this man didn't even stop. He didn't even stop me. I think it was 2 episodes ago when I said you could follow me on Blue Wire. This man let me go through the whole spiel. He didn't break smile.
I didn't say it. Oh man, I'm sorry.
Yeah, he probably wasn't even locked in. He might have been pulling up some stats.
No,
but
I think I did hear that though. I thought in my head I corrected you. I guess not.
You did.
I remember exactly what you're talking about.
Well, so the last time we recorded though, we had to redo it because I said Blue Wire, and you're like, "You want to redo it real quick?" And I was like, "No."
That's what I was thinking of. Okay.
Yes,
so I did catch it at least once.
Yeah, the other time you just let it ride. I'm like, this man let me go up there and
no, that time I didn't catch it. So I did catch it once.
Fair enough. I'm just being petty and just getting on Mike's nerves and just trying to bother him. But as you can see, he just smiled about it. So nonetheless, you can follow me on the socials there, CKid206, Blue Sky, and Twitter. But yeah, we got a lot of news. And you know what? I think the most important news for Seahawks fans and for this defense is that, guess what, guys? Nick is going to be all right, and he will be playing in the Super Bowl, which I didn't have any doubt because I knew there was nothing on this planet that was going to stop him from playing. He could have been mauled by lions, and he would find a way to play the game. They're just stitch him up. Hey, man, you're going to bust these stitches on a couple of plays, but you'll be okay. We'll take care of you at halftime and stitch you back up. He was going to play. So the good news is he stated it. Mike Macdonald stated it. He's going to play. So Seahawks fans, you guys already know the news. By the time this pod's out, you guys have already heard the good news. We just thought we'd talk about it briefly and say that, yeah, that's a great sign for this defense because Nick he's Weapon X on this defense. He does a little bit of everything. Rushes the passer, can cover downfield, and he plays the run really well. Not having him creates just a problem that Mike Macdonald's going to have to figure out. And doing that with about 3 days before the game, I'm not saying Mike can't do that. Mike Macdonald's phenomenal, but that just adds an element and a challenge to who is going to fill that void. But you don't have to worry about that now, Mike Macdonald. You're good to go.
Yeah, I didn't. I think I ended the last show. I was like, unless Nick's ankle just somehow gets detached from the rest of his body, I never had any doubt. And that was with no inside info either. I was just like, we're going to find out tomorrow. I just really was not concerned at all, though. It's like, come on, man. I haven't known Nick that long. I've only known Nick he got drafted in April. It's February. So actually almost a year. But in the little time I've known him, I'm like, he seems like a pretty tough cat. Like come on, it's the Super Bowl. And yeah, I think the thing that would have been real bad if he had to miss the game would have been, yes, they'll be fine at nickel. You slide Spoon in there and you just basically play Job and Reek together every snap, Spoon at nickel. And then you probably just really can't go dime, I guess. So when it's like 3rd and 10, usually they bring like Drake Thomas off the field, go dime, 60 Bs, and then just Ernest. You probably would just want to stay in nickel. And you would have Drake Thomas out there in the obvious passing situations, which is like not ideal, but you can get by. We've seen it. But we also seen what happened when Nick got hurt against the Rams. And we've seen that Stafford went right at him. I think with one of those tight ends like Ferguson, big bomb, up the sideline. Ty Okada ended up smacking him, getting a penalty. So it was just, you can just see how that just one difference can just change things for them. Now that was him, Nick, getting hurt on the fly. I imagine if they had more time to prepare and know that they can cook up some stuff, maybe integrate Ty Okada a little bit or something else. But yeah, you just avoid that. So that's good. And Nick is just something that is hard to prepare for. Because like you said, Chris, he does so much stuff. So like you force the Patriots to have a plan. Like a plan in a way that they haven't had to before. Now, maybe they would just use their Derwin James plan. The Patriots, that is, they would use their Derwin James plan, say, hey, Nick's basically the same guy. This is basically the same scheme, and apply a lot of that. The problem is the Patriots defense or Patriots offense got its ass kicked by the Chargers for a lot of the game. So it's not like the Derwin plan was all that great, not to say they just had a plan for Derwin per se, but although you should, if you play the Chargers defense, which does, yes, run pretty much a version of this same scheme because Jesse Minter, their DC, former DC, Mike McDonald, their boys, yada, yada. But yeah, great news that Nick is playing. This game should be, it has the potential to be close. So you just want every advantage that you have. Nick is an advantage. Just a matchup weapon. Chris and I both watched some tape of the Patriots offense now, and you can just see how important he's going to be with what the Patriots try to do. They're going to try to get some in cuts over the middle with Hunter Henry. They're going to try to get Stephon Diggs in the slot on some slants and stuff like that is going to be where Nick's at. They're going to try to check it down to Ramondre Stevenson on some screens or some check downs or some out routes or whatever. And that's Nick's domain, particularly on those in red zone, automatic or obvious passing situations. So Nick would have been a huge loss. Like I didn't, the one thing in the little minute of social media and my phone text panic, I was just like, I didn't like anybody dismissing the impact of the loss. That would have been massive in this game. Like absolutely massive. But Nick's going to play. Seahawks should win. They have the advantage. And that, Chris, that segues perfectly into watching this Patriots offense. You and I have both spent some time doing that. When you've done that, what has stood out to you as it pertains to this matchup against the Seahawks?
I would say we talked about it briefly. Drake Maye, he got a cannon. Young bull can throw that ball very far. And we were talking about it off wax. And his ability to just trust Mr. Booty is quite incredible. Because
your boy, Mr. Booty, by the way.
I knew that was coming, man. I tried to I should have said it faster or something. I think
that's your boy. I was ready for it.
I just think that factor of trust and, hey, man, I see number 27 on you. What did Mike McDonald say? We did not care. That's kind of the mindset that Drake has when he drives back to throw it to Mr. Booty. I don't care who's on him. I'm going to give him a shot. And Reek is a really talented corner. And I'm not taking anything away from the Broncos DBs because those guys are good. Some would argue are better than the Seahawks DBs. Whatever the case may be, that's fine. But to have that type of trust, I'm curious as to how that matchup will go against the Seahawks because I talked about it a few weeks ago that Josh Jobe might be the one corner that teams feel like that they can attack. He's smaller in stature, but he plays big. He plays like he's 6 feet. He's not afraid of anyone. And when you watch the tape, when you watch him live, he brings it every play. And that's one of the reasons why Mike McDonald loves him because he goes out there and does everything that he's asked of. He does it. So when you look at the matchups and you break it down, yeah, he can match up against Stephon Diggs. He has quick twitch. Is he as physical as Stephon? Maybe not. I don't think Stephon Diggs is a Devontae Adams type physical receiver. He's just shifty and can make guys miss in open space. And then you look at Mac Hollins. He's a speed guy that can get downfield. So from the Patriots offense, look at going up against that Seahawks defense. Is Drake Maye going to trust his receivers, have that confidence to just drop it in a bucket when it's 1st and 10, 2nd and long? Are those going to be opportunities where they believe they can take shots against this defense? Mind you, I'm sure Mike can probably find this stat in a heartbeat. The Seahawks don't give up a lot of explosives unless they're playing the Rams. Let me make that very clear. That is the one team where people are wondering, they're asking us after the game, Mike, Chris, what's going on with the Seahawks DBs? Why is Puka Nacua always open? Why is Devontae Adams making plays? Guys, because they're just elite. Those are two of the best receivers in the NFL. JSN's right there with them. I'm sure in practice, JSN is always open. I can only imagine how the DBs feel for the Seahawks when they're going up against number 11 every time in practice. So with that being said, when you look at Stephon Diggs, Matt Collins, Mr. Booty, does Drake Maye, is he really confident that he can just throw the ball down there and expect his guys to come down with it? I would argue probably not. But I don't know if they're going to shy away from that, because the Patriots have been a team that's like, you know what? I'll give my guys a shot. Drake Maye is going to throw that up there and give his receiver, Kayshon Boutte, an opportunity. I would take the Seahawks defense to be ready and prepared and get some PBUs, maybe even get an interception here and there. So I know, Mike, you have some numbers on the Seahawks explosive. Give them to me.
Yeah, so you're right. I got that pretty fast. So I'm not even going to read the league-wide rank. The Seahawks were obviously very good at limiting explosives. Every defense that leads the league in scoring is. So that's just like super obvious, right? So, but I want to look at there have been 3 games this year where the Seahawks allowed 10 explosive passes. I'm sure you guys can all guess what they were. They were the Bucks game. They were the second Rams game, and then the third Rams game. Otherwise, their largest number of explosives was 5, like literally half that, which is like a pretty respect. You don't want to give up that number either, but like 5 is, you can get by with 5. For instance, they gave up 5 against Jacksonville and only gave up 12 points. One of them was a botched screen. Let's see, Brian Thomas Jr. got one. Oh, let's see, these are all Brian Thomas. Oh no, Parker Washington got one, and then Tim Patrick got one on Job late in the down. That actually ended up being a touchdown. They gave up 5 in the first Niners game. I think 2 of these are Reek. One of them's on Kobe. Looks like one of these I think is to use check, and then one to Christian McCaffrey, in which he I think bounces off of Leo. So not a lot of stuff where it's like bombs away. So it's hard to get explosives on these guys. So there's the numbers on that. Yeah, unless you're, Puka, Stafford, Devontae, it is just very tough to get that. So now I want to go to something that stood out to me, Chris. First, when I watched them, I was like, man, this is a good offense. So then I looked at the numbers. So for the season, the Patriots were 2nd in points per game, higher than the Seahawks. 4th in points per drive, higher than the Seahawks. 3rd in EPA per play, way higher than the Seahawks. Seahawks were like 14th in EPA per play or something, 18th. They were in the teens. Where were they at? Yeah, 18th in EPA per play. The Seahawks were this year. So not a very efficient offense, right around the league average, really. Whereas the Patriots were super efficient, super explosive, scored a lot of points, scored very high clip on a points per drive measure. And we've talked about that number on the show. I like that one a lot more, points per drive, because it factors in how often you have the ball. And it takes away defensive score or special teams, which matters quite a bit. So that stood out at first. And then that was just regular season, watching some playoff stuff. And then I watched the playoffs and I was like, this is not a good offense. This is an offense that's potential for explosives, but very spotty. It actually, Chris, reminded me of watching the Seahawks in that little stretch there where they weren't super great. Falcons, who else? Vikings, Colts. It kind of reminded me of when I was watching that, where it's obviously there are good players here. The quarterback is very good. The receivers are very talented, but it's just not coming together the right way. And so particularly what stood out, and Chris and I did an exercise where we watched a bunch of Drake Maye playoff sacks before recording. And it just made me, again, want to look at the numbers. I look at the tape, look at the numbers, look at the tape, look at the numbers. And boy, I got some numbers for you guys. So, in the regular season, Drake Maye's sack rate, 8.7%. It's higher than the league average, which is about 6.8%. So significantly higher, but still right around the league. But it's still only like the 16th highest in the league. So not the end of the world. He wasn't like Justin Herbert, Justin Fields, Shador. Those guys were at the top. Pretty much anybody who laced him up for the Jets was at the wrong end of all of these lists. Don't play for the Jets. It's bad. And he also was only at the 20th highest splint percentage. Splint is, according to True Media, that is just basically sacks and interceptions per drop back, which I like because it factors in all the negative plays you do, whether you take a sack or you throw a pick. Again, 20th highest rate. Like that's not Josh Allen. He was the one right above or right below, one of the two. So yeah, right above Josh Allen, according to my notes. Got to remember to read those. So we got eight, and that was at 9.2%. Okay, so he sack or an interception about 9.2% of the time. So he's at 8.7%, 9.2% on metrics that matter to me. That sound good. Read all those numbers. Now let me read you those for the playoffs. This is crazy. His sack rate goes up to 16.3%. His splint rate goes up. Again, that's sacks and interceptions. I don't think he's thrown a ton of interceptions, but so this mostly might just be sacks. 16.8%. Those are bad. Those lead the playoffs in both categories by a decent amount, I think, with the exception of Justin Herbert. So you're looking at like Justin Herbert in the play. So you guys, if you watch the game that Justin played in the playoffs, that is like in the realm of what Drake has been in the postseason. Maybe not that bad. Let me look at EPA per play real quick before I call him Justin Herbert. Yeah, in EPA per play, there are 15 quarterbacks who qualified for this stat in the playoffs. Justin Herbert ranks 12th, minus 0.32. Drake Maye is only at minus 0.24, and he ranks 10th out of those 15. This has not been good stuff. This has not been good ball. Wait, why is it 15? Why is it 15? Did one team play two quarterbacks? Yes, Stidham and Bo Nix both qualified. That's why. I was like, wait a minute, 15. Math didn't check out. Only 14 teams make the playoffs. So anyway, my point is reading off all those numbers. Sorry to nerd out real quick. The point of that, Chris, is that there are some opportunities here for some negative plays, like some very big, big negatives. Like this feels like if I'm looking at the Patriots offense, this feels like they're going to be very feast or famine. Like they'll probably have some drives where they're 3 and out. And then one drive they score, and it might be just because they got a 40-yard bomb to your boy, Booty. Or Hunter Henry caught some seam ball for a big gain or something like that. Like it does feel like they're going to be able to move it because the offense has just been too good in with a large sample of like, okay, you guys can move the ball. But it does also feel like, based on what I've been seeing in the playoffs, that Chargers game was disgustingly bad for them, in my opinion. It feels like there's just so much potential for big plays. Whether it's the front, like you said, whether it's the guys in the back end, that's what I see here. I see you can get some big plays on defense. You can get some big plays if you're the Patriots offense for all the reasons you mentioned about being able to bomb it, because I don't see them getting any in the run game, about being able to bomb it. But also on the flip side, I just see so much potential for strip sacks. And I'm going to let you guys in on the commentary from Chris here, if he doesn't mind me sharing after we were talking about before we started recording. We were watching some cut-ups of Drake Maye in the pocket, and it was like a bunch of sacks and stuff. And Chris was watching. He's like, damn, how many of these are going to be strip sacks? Because it was a lot. I felt like I was watching the same play. I don't even know the number if we counted.
I didn't count. Yeah. I'm going to go watch it now as you continue to dissect it. But I want to say he got sacked 15 times. At least 6 were strip sacks. So that's almost half were guys stripping at the football. So I'm going to go back real quick. I have it pulled up.
I have the number, by the way.
Give me the number. Screw it. Go ahead, Mike.
It's 6. You're on point. Your eyes are telling you the truth.
It was crazy. It felt like every other play, they were swiping at the football. So I'm guaranteeing you, Mike McDonald preached to his for fat men and Nick Emmanwori, when you get an opportunity, rake at that ball. He will cough it up. And that, to Mike's point, that's a negative play, positive play for the defense. And what does Mike McDonald, this defense, want? They love negative plays. That's what they feast on. They become darker. They are the dark side, but they can become the darker side just within the first half because their ability
Facts.
to get after the quarterback, and they do it with 4-man pressure. And maybe Mike McDonald drops his nuts on Sunday in the Super Bowl and is like, F it. We bring in 8 guys and we're about to, confuse you. Because if you guys remember, they didn't do a lot of it this year because their defensive front has been amazing. But I know last year against the Chicago Bears, Mike McDonald confused the hell out of Caleb Williams. He had 8 men at the line of scrimmage, and Caleb didn't know what was going on. And granted, he's a rookie. Like, I don't know how much time you would expect a rookie to be prepared for Mike McDonald, who is sending multiple pressures, blitzing guys, just trying to make it hell. And Caleb was running around like a chicken with his head cut off, trying to find reads, just throwing the ball. And if you guys remember that last interception, the last play of the game, I want to say it was a pressure, but he had everybody lined up at the line of scrimmage. It might have been a blitz. I don't recall off top. But the main thing is maybe Mike McDonald gets back to that because that's something they haven't shown a lot. They've done it. Don't get it twisted. They've done it. But I remember last season, it felt like they did it a lot. A lot. They were just mugging the line of scrimmage with everybody, and you don't know who's coming. Maybe in the Super Bowl, he does that times 10. He's just like, F it. I know my front four is great. And I trust my DBs. We're just going to try to confuse Drake Maye. I could be wrong, but that's just a forecast of maybe what Mike McDonald might have up his sleeve because he's done it this season. But I swear it felt last year, his first year as a head coach, it felt like he was doing it ad nauseum, just so much.
Yeah, and that segues perfectly to I had a conversation with Cliff Avril today, and we'll play some of that. Because when I was watching them too, I'm just like, man, if Cliff played in this game, they'd win by 30. Because he was, the strip sack king. Like, he would have a field day with just like Will Anderson did in that Texans game. That game was brutal. That was rough. The left side of their line is a problem. I mean, I think Chad mentioned that to us. Chad Graff, we had him on last week, the preview, and he mentioned it. It's like Jared Wilson, I think it's the rookie from Georgia, the guard, and then Will Campbell, I think is the rookie from LSU, their top pick. They're left guard, left tackle, and it's like, yeah, I can see why Chad was saying that. That's just a problem there. So I want to play some stuff from Cliff because I really wanted to just get his insights just real quick about, what he thought of this matchup. So this is earlier today at Super Bowl. I think Cliff got in today, ran into him at availability. And I was just like, when you look at this front that the Seahawks have, like, what do you see from it? And this is what Cliff had to say.
Man, I love everything that them boys doing up front. Again, it starts with the guys in the middle, Jay Reed, Murph, Leo. I think it's those guys that make this thing move. I actually told them at the beginning of the season, like, yo, this team is only going to go as far as you guys take it. And they've been leading the charge. And so I love to see what the boys are doing. I love how they're playing. And, they win the game if they continue to play at a high level.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what's interesting too about this, Chris, because as much as he's right, like Leo and Murph make this thing roll, and then Jay Reed, the big dog. I did a feature on Jay Reed that ran today. Make sure you guys go check that out on The Athletic. But it was interesting to me watching their tape. I was like, this could be a big D-Law game because D-Law is just so quick, so quick. Did I share the Gray Zabel story? I shared that on the show. Yeah, he said something at Super Bowl week about D-Law. Have I shared that?
No, you haven't.
No. Okay, cool. So this reminds me of something Gray said. I forget what the question was. It wasn't my question. It was a media session. He was like, yeah, man, one day in practice, D-Law slid to 3 technique. So D-Law's usually on the edge, but this is like, inside rusher over the guard, and which means he was over Gray. And he was like, yeah, I tried to like punch with my hands, obviously. And he said, D-Law just grabbed my wrist out the air and moved it out the way. And then Gray said to himself, this is going to be a long day of practice. And that's Gray, who is like a really good player. I can only imagine what the matchups look like when D-Law slides inside and goes against this Jared Wilson fella or the starting right guard. I can't remember his name. But just anybody on the interior, like I feel like it could be a pretty long day. like especially in some obvious passing situations. Because while I'm sure that the interior can probably prepare for like Leo's power or Murph's power. Well, actually, I don't know how you prepare for that. Murph's strong as hell. But it's D-Law's quickness that I could see being a real big impact here. And the way and that got at something else that I asked Cliff about, and we'll play that here, is I asked him like schematically, what really stands out to you about the way they can get, it's not just like the Texans were just like rush the guy in front of you. That's what the Texans were on. But the Seahawks, I feel like, do a better job of like finding a matchup where you can get a skinny guy like D-Law on a big guy like a guard. And so I asked Cliff about kind of how they schematically go about that and what he sees.
First off, hats off Coach McDonald. I think he's borderline genius, if not one. You know what I'm saying? As far as for like this defensive game and how he puts guys in the right position, you know, you see the guys up front, yeah, they're chopping it up. You just never know who's going to be on the edge. You never know, you know, what games they're running. They run a lot of games. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. As a pass rusher, I would probably hate it just because I like to be on the edge and kind of dictate my own thing. But there's a reason behind why he does what he does, right? Whether it's the players, whether it's the system, whether it's the scheme, whatever it may be. But it works for the guys. It works for the guys, and they know how to run those games to a T. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Man, he's right, man. Like, it really is. It's a matchup thing. Because that's why this Chris watching these guys in the playoffs was so fascinating, because it wasn't just, okay, you're lined up against the tackle, you're lined up against the center, everybody ready, break. Again, the Texans did a lot of that. But Mike Macdonald, I think he's going to be really good. What I'm wondering, Chris, if they have an answer for in this game is how do you decide who's rushing where? Like, I feel like this is going to be a very big problem, especially if they can't run the ball. The Patriots can't. Like, I'm really trying to figure out how they keep Drake Maye upright, unless, Chris, all of a sudden the guys who I just watched on tape for the last 3 games in the playoffs just turn into different dudes. And I just don't know how likely that is.
Probably unlikely, but again, to be honest and fair, it is one game, and it's one game, so
you only got to be good that day, I guess.
Literally, but I think it's to your point that you talked about you might have said a couple of times about flipping a switch and just being great all of a sudden, or being really good. That's kind of not easy to do. Like, if you've been this way for 3 games, no one's expecting you to come out in that 4th game like, oh my God, he's a completely different player. Like, that's kind of unheard of. You don't see that often. For instance, Matthew Stafford, he's been really good. You know what he was against the Seahawks? He was really good. The Seahawks just had a couple more plays made defensively. Sam Darnold, another good example. He's been really good these past 2 games. Niners didn't have to do much, but against the Rams, he said, not a problem. You need me to go down here and score? I got you. You need me to end the game, running the football, throwing it? I got you. So yeah, it's been shown, but it is one game. Things can happen, but I don't foresee Drake Maye all of a sudden not holding on to the football forever, not getting strip sacked at least 1 or 2 times, assuming that the offensive line for the Patriots is not just all of a sudden just perfect. Because again, the Seahawks D-line is really talented. And as I mentioned, I think Mike Macdonald, if he really wants to, he can try to confuse Drake Maye and send the hounds. Like, he's very capable of doing that. Does he want to? Does he trust his secondary? Have they worked on that in practice? Those are things we'll find out on Super Bowl Sunday. My guess is he might do that. He might try to send the dogs after him and confuse Drake Maye, make it a muddy game, muddy that line of scrimmage, have him worried about pressure coming from Nick Emmanwori, and then, it's Josh Jobe and Reek on a double corner blitz in the Super Bowl. How great would that be? I mean, is there a prop bet on that or something that I can go to this casino and say, you know what? At plus 1,000, Mike Macdonald sending a double cornerback blitz. I'm throwing $3,000 on that bad boy because I think he would do it. I just think this is a game where you just lay it all on the table. So it should be an interesting chess match from the offensive coordinator for the Patriots going up against the defensive coordinator and the Seahawks. But if I had to put money on it, I would put money that Mike Macdonald is able to make things very tough for this Patriots offense. We're not even talking about the run game. We're not even really that's not something that needs to be discussed. It's more so, can the Seahawks limit explosives, which they've done all season. So I don't foresee this becoming the Rams offense for the Patriots. So call me crazy. If it happens, I'm sorry, but I don't see that. So yeah. And another thing is Drake's legs. We haven't really gotten to that yet, but I know you have one more thing on Cliff that you want to talk about. So before we do so, tee it up for Cliff, because I know we have one more clip that you want to refer to about this D line and going up against this Patriots offense.
Yeah, so it's like I don't think Drake Maye is gonna be all that. Like I don't think they're trying to confuse him. What stands out about watching these guys is something I asked Cliff about. I was like, okay, or it's something Cliff mentioned. I was like, okay, why are games so games, by the way, games, stunts, twists, like when you see guys looping around each other, when we talk about games, I don't know if we've explained that on the show. Sorry if we have not, but when we hear Cliff say games or we hear me or Chris say games, that's what we mean. Like, okay, the tackle may be lining up here, but he runs here, runs a pick, and then Nick Emmanwori loops around, or Byron Murphy loops around. It's just not just rushing against the guy across from you. And I was just asking Cliff, like, okay, why is that so difficult? Especially when it's still only 4 guys doing it up front against 5. And here's how Cliff kind of broke it down to me.
Because it chops up the front, 1, and then 2, it also it makes sure that they have to communicate. They got to understand what type of games. And then if it's a team that runs so many of them, you have to always be looking out for that instead of just the guy that's in front of you. So it just adds another element to what they have to do in the communication process and all that good stuff.
Yeah, see, so I that kind of made me think Drake may know what's coming, but do the guys up front, and that's what they really had a problem against the Chargers. That was an issue, and it was some issue in some other games I watched as well. Didn't just watch them in the playoffs, but I spent the most time watching them in the playoffs, specifically their passing game, because I was also trying to see where they had answers. And I do have some members on the Drake with his legs. Yeah, he had a league high 62 scrambles, 5.8 yards per carry. That was 14th, right behind Russ. Russ still got it. 477 rush yards, excluding kneel downs. I think it's 4th most among quarterbacks. But the scramble number, why I led with that, Chris, is because when people kept mentioning his legs, I was like, I watched Drake Maye, but I just really wanted to dive into it a little bit more. I didn't see a guy. This is not like Lamar, like he'll run, but he's not running. He wants to throw. Like, I'll put it that way. Like, he wants to throw the ball. Like, yes, he will take off, but it really more reminded me of like Baker. I feel like watching Baker, and he's not like a mobile quarterback in the traditional sense. It also actually reminded me of like Mahomes, and like Mahomes is like a really good scrambler. Probably the second best scrambler in the league, I would say, behind Lamar is a really good scrambler, and Justin Herbert is a really good scrambler as well this year in particular. But Herbert's another good one. But it didn't feel like they got to like put a spy out there or come up with a new rush plan. It did feel like stuff they've seen before, and it didn't seem like a guy I was too worried about. We talk about making a bet. I think Drake's rushing number prop bet at last I saw was like 50 yards. I would hammer the under on that in this game. I don't know where you're at, but I didn't see that as like not to say he can't do it, but it just didn't seem like a thing that would be like a killer, because it seems like he wants to throw the ball, and he stands back there trying to throw the ball, which is why he keeps all them strip sacks you saw. So yeah, that's a Seahawks man-to-man prop bet advice. I guess I'd probably take the under on Drake Maye's rushing.
Well, I'm sure our listeners that do gamble based on some of the things you've said might be running to the nearest casino or texting their friends, family members saying, hey, can you lay down some bread on the under for Mr.
I'm about
Drake
to check
Maye?
what it is and see what you think. Where do you take the over or the under?
Okay,
let's see.
Take a peek.
Yeah, let's see here. Rush yards. We need a betting sponsorship. We should work on that. Let's see. Yeah, so 30 plus yards is minus 215. That means you got to bet $215 to win $100. So not great. 40 plus is minus 113. So you got to bet $113 to win $100. That's a little better. And then 50 plus is plus 157. That means you bet $100, you win $157. So yeah, I guess Vegas doesn't seem that high on them either, but I'd take under all that stuff if I could find it. That was just on like Caesars or whatever. So whatever bookie you want to use. But yeah, anyway, we don't got to turn into a betting show. But I don't know if I told you, Chris, 40 9.5 rushing yards for Drake in this game. What would you take?
That's a tough one, man, because I think he could just scramble, but I'll take the under 2. Yeah, I think that's fair. And then he goes out there and runs, 10 times for 56 yards. Oh.
Yeah, that means we probably just jinxed it. I'm sorry, guys. If he goes crazy like on the first drive, we're gonna get so many people hitting me like, Mike, see, you jinxed us. Here, you know what? Let me look at some scrambling QB numbers for the Seahawks this year. See, I like this. I like getting deep
Jaden
into
Daniels
the matchup.
might have been the only one that was okay. You guys are
Yeah, I
struggling
can't even
against
think
him.
off the top of my head if anybody.
But he didn't do all that good because that was their offense. Hey, Jaden, no one's open. Can you run? I don't think he had that many design runs. If that helps your argument here, it was more so no one's open, use my legs. And it didn't work out all that great for him. He might have gotten 3 or 4 first downs in that matchup against the Seahawks.
Yeah, so Brock Purdy, 17 yards rushing in the first game. Yeah, Baker had 15 yards rushing. Kyler had 41 yards rushing in the in week 4. CJ Stroud had 25 yards rushing on 2 attempts. Yeah, you're right. Jaden Daniels had 51 yards rushing on 10 attempts. Jacoby Brissett, deceptively athletic. I'm sorry. He's very black. I'm sorry. Brother named Jacoby Black. Yes, for sure. Nothing deceptive about that. I'm sorry. Yeah, Cam Ward. See, this is the one that was more interesting. Yeah, Cam Ward had 5 scrambles, 37 rush yards total. But yeah, not a lot of design rush yards. The Seahawks, unless I typed in something wrong, have only given up, it looks like 6 design rushing yards total.
No team's doing that. No team in their right mind is like, you know what? Let's run it to our quarterback, unless you're Josh Allen. That would be, if the Seahawks played the Super Bowl against the Buffalo Bills, that would be like, okay, you can expect something from that offense where they're just going to give the ball to number 17 and try to block. But even then, I think that's crazy because this D-line's nasty.
Yeah, and so last thing on the rushing thing. So in terms of scramble rushing or scramble EPA, the highest EPA on scrambles against the Seahawks this year was Cam Ward, which makes sense. Cam ran for 4 first downs against the Seahawks and rushed for a touchdown. Bryce was second. Bryce ran for 3 first downs and also ran for a touchdown. Everybody else was just not getting, when they did scramble, not getting much out of it. So yeah, I'm glad I'm looking this stuff up because yeah, it didn't feel dangerous to me. It felt like if they're going to win this game, it's what you kind of talked about. It's just bombs away and hitting like 2 of them. It really does. It does. And for real, now for what it's worth, Drake Maye was second in the league in scramble EPA this year. He was right behind. Actually, let's see. Can you guess the other 2 people in the top 3?
Well,
Drake
Jaden Daniels didn't play much this season because he was banged up. So that leaves, wow. It couldn't have been CJ. He's too slow for me. I don't see him escaping the pocket. Wow. Why am I brain dead? You know what? Oh, Russell. Lamar, and how about Jalen? Lamar and Jalen.
Jalen Hurts?
Probably Josh. Yeah, it's probably, you know what? I screw that. We'll go Josh Allen and Lamar.
Those are good guesses. No. Baker was number 1, scramble EPA, and then Drake was second, and Justin Herbert was third. Yeah, so I mean, I think those. I'm glad the numbers matched kind of the descriptions I gave. Like that's the type of runner Drake seems to be, and it is important for sure, but it just doesn't feel deadly. Like the guys you mentioned feel deadly. Josh,
yeah, and that's
Lamar.
I probably should have thought about that a little bit more because these are guys that are scrambling. Their O-lines weren't as. I don't know if their O-lines were as bad, but it makes sense that Herbert was
the Chargers O-line was the worst in the league. Yeah.
So that I should have, when you asked that, I should have thought about some of the worst O-line because that, I'm scrambling because my O-line's not doing their job. I got to get out of there as opposed to Lamar just sometimes the O-line's perfect and he just drops back and runs it, or they have a design run. So, yeah, Justin Herbert should have been higher on my list now that I think about it, because that offensive line is not good.
Wow, Josh Allen had 14 rushing touchdowns this year. Holy catfish. What a special guy. Wow, he's good. I just didn't realize that. Wow, Trevor Lawrence
running
had 9.
back numbers.
Yeah, I don't think Ken and Zach combined for 14 rushing touchdowns in the regular season, did they?
Nah, they had to, because I think Zach Charbonnet had like 9.
How many did Ken have? 4?
4? Damn.
5? Like they probably combined for as many as Josh had. I should look that up at some point.
That's some nasty work there.
Yeah, I mean, Josh gets a bunch of 1-yard stuff, I would imagine, but shoot, so do running backs.
All right, so Zach,
yeah, that's crazy.
K9 had 5, and Sharbs. Oh, damn, you're probably right, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. It's that's 14's a lot. That's a lot of rushing touchdowns.
Oh, you know what? Never mind. Charbonnet had 12. I knew. Okay, so they're good.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. What's the other thing I wanted to get to? We got anything else we want to get to from the matchup itself? Anything else that stood out to Patriots offense?
We covered it. We talked. Did we? Yeah. Oh, did we talk about the quick passes and what you saw on film about how they are trying to, they'll attack it downfield, but they also don't mind throwing 3-yard slants, bubble screens, RPO stuff.
Yeah, what was interesting, so I thought that they didn't have a very vast menu of quick answers for Drake in a lot of the games, but it does feel like they approached the games in which it was very clear that they feared the edge rushers. They behaved differently. And so, for instance, like Denver, they were very afraid of Benito and Cooper. They were like, they're going to kill our tackles. Same thing. They were like, Will Anderson's going to kill our tackles. Daniil Hunter's going to kill our tackles. They weren't as afraid, it seems like, of Thule, my man in the Chargers. I think that's who that was. If that's wrong, I'm sorry, but it felt different. And I actually think that this will be an interesting chess match in that regard too. Like, how afraid is Josh McDaniels of DeMarcus Lawrence? How afraid of Uchenna Nwosu is Josh McDaniels? And I don't think it'll be the same as what we saw from some of the other teams they've played that have like more like quote unquote premier edge rushers. We'll see. But that I didn't feel good about the menu there. I feel like if they were nervous, they just threw a screen. That was it. It was just like, oh, our tackles are probably going to be cooked here. Let's give our tackles a break. Or yeah, that was it. Maybe it's like, maybe our tackles aren't going to be cooked, but let's just give them a break. Screen. Give them a break. Screen. And sure. I went into this. Maybe I should have said this at the beginning. I just went into this project diving in thinking, what's going to be the deadly thing that jumps out to me? For instance, like if you watch last year's Eagles offense, if you're ever going to prepare for that, it was very clear on tape. Oh, if you don't have dogs up front, you will get run on bad. Like it was so clear. And I just kind of didn't see I didn't see that jump out outside of the deep stuff. I thought the deep stuff was really great. So, I mean, yeah, we'll see. That's probably the last thing on the matchup itself. If there's some more numbers, I think we could talk about it. But yeah, I mean, not to just we just poo-pooed the Patriots offense for like 30 minutes, and good thing this isn't the Patriots pod. But yeah, I wasn't. I can see why some people just wanted to use the schedule against the Patriots, like, oh, they didn't play anybody. I don't subscribe to that, but I can maybe see if you felt that way and watch the tape. I'm like, yeah, they do some great stuff, but just didn't feel very afraid. I guess the last thing, Chris, I would say is I was surprised how much juice Stephon Diggs still had on tape. Very quick, great hands, super quick.
You gotta know where he's at on the field because he can still make plays. I know I talked about it I think last week that he might not be Buffalo Bills, Minnesota, Stephon Diggs, but you got to know where he's at because he can still make plays. He's not dropping passes. He's not basically Kobe Parkinson of the Rams. If he's open, he gonna catch it. Kobe had money on the Seahawks. He must have because my goodness, against the Seahawks in the conference championship and in that Week 16 matchup, that boy was like, "Yo, y'all want to win? I got you, Stafford." hit me in the hands. No problem. I'll put it on the turf. But nonetheless, yeah, Stephon Diggs, keep an eye on him because he's still good. He's still good. He might not be a number one on 29 other teams, but my golly, he fits in with what the Patriots are trying to do, and he makes plays. And selfishly, I got him for fantasy. So,
Oh, did you?
Stephon, yeah, in the KJR league that we drafted players in the
Okay.
playoffs. So I had Matthew Stafford, Kyron Williams, Stephon Diggs, and who was my other? It don't matter. Nonetheless, I got Stephon Diggs. I'm in first place right now. So Stephon, if you can just get me a touchdown, I'll be greatly appreciated. So do that for me. But yeah, enough with the Patriots. One last thing before we get out of here, though. JSN, no surprise there. Offensive player of the freaking year. Well deserved. He went from, can he be the number one for the Seahawks to, excuse me? Go watch my tape against Ohio State that Mike loves pointing out. Dugar, that is not Mike McDonald, because he did that throughout the whole season. He was phenomenal. I mean, at what point, what was it? 2 months into the season, we were talking about him potentially breaking Calvin Johnson's record, which I was like, yeah, it's a tough task. It could be done, but nonetheless, he didn't break it. He didn't break Calvin Johnson's record, but he had a really great season, and I think he can come back and be just as productive next year. So shout out to JSN for just having a phenomenal year and stepping up to the plate and becoming that number one wide receiver and a unanimous All-Pro selection at wide receiver.
Yeah, I mean, Jax is just what he's doing is he's cementing himself as like one of the best. This is easily one of the best seasons in Seahawks history. Like for an individual, like you just look at what he's doing. Look at the air. Look at the rare air he enters this season. You got like he is a first team All Pro. They don't have many of those on offense in general. Don't have a lot of those at the skill positions. Like Russ was never first team All Pro. Doug was never first team All Pro. DK was never first team All Pro. Tyler Lockett never first team All Pro. I don't think Matt Hasselbeck was ever first team All Pro. So it's like that honor is special. So you're talking about guys like Marshawn Lynch, Max Unger, Walter Jones, I believe Steve Hutchinson, like Hall of Fame. You know, it's on offense. I'm focusing on specifically here. Sean Alexander, I think I said already, but like it's rare air just right there to be like, okay, you're first team All Pro, and then he did that for the first time. The Seahawks haven't had an All Pro receiver since Largent in '85. That's crazy. Only been 2 guys now to win Offensive Player of the Year, voted on by the Associated Press. Him and Sean Alexander. You're talking about just rare air here. In the same year that he broke Tyler Lockett's single season reception record, broke DK Metcalf's single season receiving record, smoked that, by the way, broke that by like week 12, and had like the 8th highest receiving total in NFL history. It's just box check, box check, box check. It is just absolutely ridiculous the season he's having, even no matter what happens in the game, by the way. But if then they go win the game, oh, Chris, we're talking about like your arguments with Puckett, Puckett, the former host of KJR, Puckett, who loves Steve Largent, Chris, who just is like, get these old guys up out of here, basically. Sorry if that's inaccurate, let me know. But it could get, you're going to have a strong case there. Now, Steve has longevity on his side, like 3 seasons from Jags. Not going to do it. But like I'm looking at, Chris, this list of guys the Seahawks have had that have been first team All Pro on offense. Like you're looking at Big Walt, Largent 1 time, Steve twice, Marshawn once, Sean once, Unger once, Max Strong. Tyler was as a returner, and that's it. And then was it Bobby Joe Edmonds? So like it's anyway, just not a long list here. So just to even get that once is just special stuff. Like Marshawn only did it once, for instance. And it puts in perspective how good Walter Jones was to have done it first team 4 times, and for Bobby to have been first team 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. Bobby might be the greatest Seahawk ever, by the way. But Jax is putting himself in that conversation as one of the best Seahawks offensive players ever. And then if they go win a championship, we're having a conversation here, folks. So we're getting a little ahead of ourselves there, but just it just the thing that stands out to me is every time I keep writing about Jax doing something, it's like, wow, I go look up when's the last time they had something like this, and I got to go back. And the names that come up are some of the greatest in Seahawks history. So it's just a big kudos to Jax. Like you said, he can still. Jax is 23.
Yeah,
Jax is
he's
23.
a baby in the league.
Yeah, 23. I think when Eskridge got drafted, he was 25. Like it's, I think LJ Collier might have been the same thing. So he's just so young. I think he turns 24 on Valentine's Day. So which could be the parade. They should have the parade on Jax's birthday. If they win, just a big celebration of Jax. Because now I'm thinking, like, if they win this game, he got a real good shot to win MVP. It's just a special stuff what he's doing. It really is just unreal to be so young, to be this good. Like, he should have a blank check in his locker no matter how the game goes. Monday, here, Jax, you're the highest paid receiver in the league. Thank you for your services. We'll renegotiate in 2031 or whenever that contract would be up. So yeah, just special stuff. He beat out Christian McCaffrey, Puka Nacua, I think finished third, which that surprised me. I didn't believe CMC would beat out Puka for second, but yeah, well deserved by Jackson. I loved his acceptance speech, shouting out his teammates, shouting out the organization, the little nugget he shared from his father, and how Jackson went into his final season wanting to be a Heisman finalist, a top 5 draft pick, and then he hurt his hamstring and played 60 snaps. And then he just talked about how that helped him grow, not being on the field, and was actually still a top 20 pick without playing his final year. That should have been a sign of how cold he was. Seahawks are like, we don't even need to watch you do anything. We saw the Rose Bowl, and that was good enough for us, buddy. We're gonna take you first. And what a call by them. Like JSN, by the time you guys listen to this pod, you'll probably see my JSN story. It came out today on The Athletic. He unofficially goes by the best in the world. And he absolutely is the best in the world. That's why Drewski should have pronounced his name right. Come on, Drewski. Be better than that, man. I didn't know that until Chris Peep said it to me. That was crazy.
He is a comedian. He is going to take that opportunity to be as silly and crazy as he can. And you know what? He got what he asked for. Will he ever do that again? He will not be asked to do any SB, none of that again. That is a one-time thing. Maybe not. Maybe they bring him back, but as soon as I saw him up there, I didn't have to watch the video to know what he was going to say. I already knew it. And then when I watched it and he did it, I wasn't surprised. So everyone's like, oh my gosh, Drewski, have some respect. It's like, do you know who this man is? Do you guys not know what he does? He does this for a living. If you thought for 1 second that he was going to go up there and read his name clean, boy, you should go watch some Drewski videos. Go to his Instagram. That tells you everything you need to know. There was not a chance in hell that I figured he would go up there and be like Jackson, Smith, and Jigba. Didn't see it. No way, no how. And I'm sorry, maybe that's just poor on my behalf, but he's a comedian. He's a sketch artist or skit artist. That's something that's in his bag. That's what he does. I don't expect anything less. Now, it would have been nice if he said his name correct, but that doesn't fit Drewski. If it was Kevin Hart would have read the name correctly. He might have had some joke about Jackson Smith and Jigba, guaranteed, but he would have read his name correctly.
Yeah, see, so I have 2 things on this. One, he is a comedian. Your job is to be funny. That wasn't funny.
It wasn't.
and it wasn't. Yeah, you are a comedian. Be funny. Simple. And it wasn't funny because generally, this is no matter what the name is, it's just typically not funny to mispronounce someone's name when they're winning an award. Generally speaking, because like you are making the moment about you. Like and that's just that's never really good practice. No matter if it's a name that if you pronounce it wrong comes out into a slur like Jackson's name, or if it's just you just mispronounce however you want to say it, right? If someone like was giving me an award and they're in that and they said like just Duger, like they said my name like that once on the Pat McAfee show, I think, which it didn't matter because I wasn't winning an award and I don't know them. But if I was winning an award, I'd have been furious because like now the moment's about you. Like, and how funny you are. And it's just like, well, that's not the time for that. And then the second thing is, you said you didn't expect him to read the name clean. I didn't know he was presenting the award, but I actually thought reading it clean would be funny. Like if you just like read the card and you're like, oh, let me get this name right. Jackson Smith in Jigba. Boom. Yeah, it's like, then you are saying his name right, but you are acknowledging that his name is close to a slur, and you can get a joke off.
Mind you, though, I didn't know he was going to present it, but as soon as I saw Drewski, JSN, I knew what was going to happen. I knew what he was going to do. That was what I was stating. I didn't know prior to that he was going to be announcing it. But once I saw that I saw Drewski trending JSN, I said, oh, he did what Mike and I have been talking about. Someone's going to do.
Someone was going to do it. Yep.
And he did it. And it just happened to be a comedian. To Mike's point, it wasn't funny. It was like, oh, why, But I wasn't surprised, unfortunately. So Drewski.
Or say, yeah, go ahead. Finish that.
No, you're good.
My other option that would have been funny was to Drewski to say Jackson Smith. Ooh, JSN is the winner. Like, that would have been funny. That would have been a funny way to still get his name right, but acknowledge that his name is very close to being a slur. It's the same thing if like Steve Kerr's kid, I think Steve Kerr, the coach of the Warriors, I think his son's name is Nick
Kerr. Yes.
Kerr. So that's the thing. Like if he was famous and you were reading a card where he was getting an award, you'd be like, Nick, whoa.
All right,
Nicholas Kerr. There you go. Like you can acknowledge someone's name is very close to offending people while still like acknowledging how their name is supposed to be read. Like, so that's the thing that also when I saw it, I was like, oh dang, it was actually a funny way to do this. And it just kind of dropped the ball. I'm no comedian, but I felt there would have been a funnier way, an actual funny way. Instead, it was just like, now you're like you said, you saw him trending. It's like, oh boy, like now the moment was about Drewski, not Jax, and that's selfish. No one should do that. Not just the Drewski thing. Like you should just, there's a funnier way to do that, but also make the moment about the person. So he did not do that. That is our TED Talk about Jax botching the Drewski thing. Anyway. We got anything else, Chris? We get down to here. This is Friday.
Nah, man. Nah,
we're almost at game day.
We're almost at game day. Maybe Mike and I we might do something right before the game. Who knows? Mike's gonna be busy. He's still chugging. Hopefully that's water, because knowing Mike, he might need a beer or two now that he's been up late every damn night.
You want to go live on Sunday at some point? We can go live. We can try that.
We probably could. We could probably
let us know how you guys feel about that. I think there's some issues for me doing that in the press box, but maybe I can do it on. I think it might be a press box thing. Maybe I can do it. But yeah, maybe I have to like go outside.
Nah, we ain't
can do it.
Hey, what's up, Mike?
The shuttle I'm going on, it leaves at like 11 a.m. for a game that kicks off at 3:30. I don't have anything else to write that day, so man, I go live for like 30. We go live for like 30 minutes. Yeah, I do it from right outside the stadium. Yeah, maybe. Let us know how you guys feel about something like that. It's going live on Sunday or something like that. I don't know where you'll be, but
at the crib. What you mean? I ain't going nowhere.
I don't know if he was going to a watch party. Maybe our friend Vaughn was hosting something. He's always hosting something.
I can't go watch a game and take notes and be around a bunch of people. Being around my wife is enough. Even though she don't talk, every now and then she might say something. I'm like, huh? What? And I got to be focused. Weirdly enough,
you're right.
I have to be focused.
Treating it like a normal game. It's not weird. You do that every Sunday, so that makes sense.
It is.
Treating it like
I hear you, because everyone's like, "Oh, you going to a party?" I'm like, "No, I'm not. I'm gonna be in my crib with my robe on, with some tea, watching the game, taking notes." It's like an old ass.
Maybe
man.
we won't go live then if you're gonna have the robe on.
I think I did a power my robe on once in life. I did that, but I don't think I'll do it again. Now that we got visuals.
Yeah, maybe we won't do that. But anyway, and thank you guys for tapping in. Yeah, maybe we'll do something like a little bonus, just something small before game day, because I've just been having so much fun interacting with you guys. Speaking of that, last thing, shout out to Jerry. Bought a book for me at the media center today. Shout out to Jerry. That was cool. Good to meet you, brother. Thank you for supporting the book. Hope you enjoy the game. Hope you guys, I still have books on me too. So if you're down here and you're not, even if you are going to the game or not, let me know. If you're going to go to some of these fan experience events that are at the media center, my hotel's nearby. I can just walk, bring my books. We can meet up, have a beer or something, maybe across the street. And just celebrate the weekend. But without further ado, we're getting out of here. Appreciate the love and support on every platform: YouTube, Blue Sky, Instagram, TikTok, all podcast audio platforms. We appreciate the love and support. If we don't do anything small before game day, we'll just make sure, we're going to come back at some point after the game. If they lose, probably right that night. If they win, TBD, or I don't know how my night's gonna go. So anyway, appreciate the love. We will catch you guys next time. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the game. Try not to stress. Your Seahawks are in the Super Bowl. Just enjoy that as much as you can. Don't stress. Have a good time. Catch you next time.